Hello and welcome to the very first lesson of the first module of the Music Business Essentials course. The module is called Thinking About the Business of Music, and this particular lesson is called Why This Course Exists. So this is our starting point, and really happy to have you on board for this starting point. Now, I'm going to change something right from the beginning. This lesson is called Why This Course Exists, but just for a moment, I'm going to change the title of the lesson to Why the Vampr Academy Exists. So, Vampr is really proud to have established this Vampr Academy. It exists for a very obvious reason. We want to provide independent musicians with the same outcomes that the whole of the Vampr app and in fact the Vampr universe provides you. And that is the means of empowering you, the artist, to take control of your career, to make meaningful connections with other musicians and also with the industry, and to build on your talent to create a sustainable career. That's the whole point of Vampr, and that's definitely the point of the Vampr Academy. Now, what you are seeing on the Vampr Academy right now is just the beginning. The Academy is going to continue to grow quickly, and we'll be providing more amazing, relevant, and up-to-date current content as the Vampr Academy evolves. This is going to include new classes. It's going to include some additional resources and some really interesting sessions that will frequently be added to the whole platform, and we're going to listen to you. We're going to add content that you need, that you want to move forward in your music career. Now, we've got some names for this, different types of content. Comprehensive courses, like this one, the Essentials course. This is the Music Business Essentials course. There's going to be a series of different Essentials courses, all the way through to one-off sessions where we get notable industry leaders and successful artists speaking directly to you about their journey and providing you with some really helpful insights into making your journey as successful as theirs. There's also going to be another level of course, if you like, called a deep dive, and they're sharper, more intensive courses. And we're even going to create a series of courses that are specific to your genre. One size does not fit all in a music career. A jazz player works differently and has different imperatives, different structures around them from a folk player or somebody who wants to be a mainstream pop artist. So we're going to structure specific courses to your genre. Now, it's pretty obvious we have big plans, and our ambition is to make the Vampr Academy the single most powerful, honest and up-to-date music industry education resource on the whole planet. That's a big ambition, but we intend to fulfill it. And we're really excited that you guys, wherever you are in the world, are joining us for this ride. So, welcome, firstly, to the Vampr Academy, and secondly, welcome to this particular course, Music Business Essentials. Now, let me explain to you a little bit more about this course. It's almost a backbone of the Vampr Academy. It's part of what we call our Essentials series, and there's going to be other Essentials courses developed over the next few months. But this one, Music Business Essentials, is the starting point for any artist who's woken up to the very important fact that perhaps it takes more than mere talent to be successful in the business of music. Now, the fact that you're on the Vampr app already tells us, certainly says to me, that you are ready to take your career seriously. You want to connect to the amazing world of music makers and those other creators, creative individuals, creative businesses that now have a home in the Vampr community. And this is fantastic. It's fantastic that you recognize that it takes more than music to have a career in music. What this initial course, Music Business Essentials provides is the realization that knowledge is power. Now, that's a fairly big sweeping statement, but what we intend to do over the course of the 8 modules of Music Business Essentials is provide you with this knowledge, and you'll feel the power grow within you. It's not going to happen in one lesson. It's going to happen over a journey across the whole course, but what we will provide you with is the knowledge and the tools to move forward in your career in the music business. So, what we are looking to do over the first few modules at least is introduce you to how the business of music works. Who does what, why they do it. It's really important to understand why they do it and how they do it. But we're doing this from the perspective of the artist. This is not knowledge for the sake of academic study. This is knowledge that we will impart and instill in you, the artist, to help you generate opportunities in your career. And maybe if you're also thinking of working behind the scenes in the music business, you want to work with passionate, empowered artists, we'll provide you with a similar kind of knowledge. So it's not just for artists, but we are looking at the business of music through the eyes of the artist. Now, sadly, this course will not magically provide you with more talent. I'm definitely not the person to teach you how to write a song or play the guitar. I'm the wrong guy for that, that's for sure. We will develop courses as we go along that will actually help you make the most of your God-given talent, but this is not so much about giving you talent. We're going to assume that you have inherently some musical talent, and whatever level you have, this course is here to help you take that talent as far as you can possibly take it. So, what we're also doing is empowering you to speak the language of the business of music. For those of you that are musicians, you probably already have the language of music itself. You speak in terms that other musicians understand, and it's probably a mystery to the people outside of your world of musicians what you're even talking about when you're talking about your music. It's also the same that the business of music also has a language that only insiders can understand. That's where we come in, and that's where this course comes in. We empower you not just with knowledge, but the language of the music industry, or as I almost prefer to call it, the business of music. So that's why this course, Music Business Essentials, exists. Now, it's an interesting observation that I've made over a long period of time in the music industry, and that is that it takes the first 10 years of being in the music business before you can actually say that you're in the music business. Now, that sounds a little strange. Let me explain that. I've been told by numerous people, and I've observed it myself, that you are trying, you are finding your way through the door in those first 10 years. And it's only after trial and error, after finding your own way, after learning the language for around 10 years, that you can genuinely say you are a part of the business of music. Now, technology has maybe increased that ability to be part of the business of music without serving that 10-year apprenticeship. And that's exactly what this course is doing. This course is here to provide you with a fast track to knowledge. Knowledge will help provide you with fast tracks to success, but what we're not offering you here is 10 magical ways of becoming an overnight sensation in the music industry, because guess what? It doesn't exist. Now, none of us, including me and including all the amazing people on the Vampr team, none of us were born knowing how the music business works. Even the most successful and popular artists or managers or record label heads in the world were not born knowing how the music industry works. They had to learn. And in the past, learning the music business has been a trial and error process. And that can be incredibly frustrating, and it can also be incredibly discouraging. So what we do in this course is provide you with, as I said, language and an understanding of the structure of the music business that will save you from some probably fairly embarrassing mistakes. And, dare I say it, some costly mistakes. Mistakes that might actually cost you money. We want to avoid that. You want to avoid that. And this is how you do it. With a course like this, what it does is it speeds up that absorption of knowledge that used to be only done by trial and error. So you can do this course in the order that I've constructed it. And it wasn't a haphazard, make it up as I go plan. I have deliberately set this course out in a way that will take you on a journey towards knowledge and power. I would strongly suggest that you do the modules in the order that I've prepared them for this course. You don't have to. If you have a pressing need to understand something that you can see comes up a couple of modules from now or even towards the end of the course, you're welcome to move forward and do those first. But I would strongly suggest that you build a strong foundation for your learning by going through the modules in order. And I really think that's the way for you to get the most out of this course. Now, here's the thing. The day that I record this lesson, something changes in the music business. Why? Because something changes in the music business every day. A lot of courses that you might see online are good in their own time, but they need to continue to evolve. So what we do with the Vampr Academy and what we give you our commitment that we will do is that we will continue to add and evolve both this course and all of our educational offerings on the Vampr Academy platform. This is really important. We'll be updating classes, we'll be amending classes, and we'll be introducing brand new lessons as we go along. So whenever you have chosen to join this course, you will be getting current, relevant, genuine information. And I'll come back to that philosophy a couple of lessons from now. All right, warning. Why am I warning you about something already? Am I warning you about the dangers of misinformation? No, I'm warning you about something you wouldn't expect. Knowledge is optional. You don't have to know how the music business works. It's fine. You don't have to. You can play music without knowing anything about the business of music. It's been said by some pretty smart people along the journey that music is its own reward. And that's true. You will all understand this. As musicians, you get an inherent joy or satisfaction from making music. It's an incredible outlet and an incredible experience just to make music. And you don't need to have the knowledge of the industry to make music. It's quite seriously, it is immensely satisfying and a truly wonderful thing just to be able to make music. Now, some things will emerge and attach to you as a result of you making music. You know, it might be fame, it might be money, it might be adulation. And if that comes along, well, there's nothing wrong with that. If that's what you want, music can be a great pathway to those exciting responses. However, unlike some other jobs, like digging holes in the highway, even if there is no financial reward or no adulation attached to you making music, you would probably do it anyway, because music is its own reward. Now, I can't imagine that there's too many jobs in the world that if they said to you, hey, here's a job where it's going to take up a big part of your life, all of your emotional energy and all of your passion, but sorry, you're not going to get paid for doing it. There's not too many jobs that probably fit that description. Music's different. You will probably all make music whether you are successful or not. So you don't have to do this course. If you go, oh, I have no desire to be successful in music, I just want to play music, you probably don't need to do a course like this. I don't think there's too many of you, though, that feel that way. The mere fact that you've enrolled in this course says that, for you at least, knowledge is not optional. Knowledge is essential. And that's why we call this range of courses the essentials courses. All right. Now, consider this statement. This is an academic statement in a lot of ways. It's an observation about how people view the making of music. And it says this: for some people, music performance is essentially private, requiring no confirmation in the form of audience approval. The musical pleasure of such people rests solely on performing, either alone or with other musicians. Maybe that sounds like you. But think about this. The need for audience approval, validation perhaps, just sharing your music with other people in the world, the need for audience approval has led to innovations as well as some decadence in its impact on the music scene. Innovation, if the performer is led to discover imaginative and fresh means of attracting public acclaim. Decadence, if the devices for that thing called audience attraction become cheap and thinly spectacular, where the performer may distract the audience from more deserving work and debase its tastes. Now that's a pretty heavy sounding statement, and it comes from an academic source. Let's unpack what the author is saying. What they're saying is the moment you decide that you want to attract an audience to your music, two possible outcomes emerge. One, there's going to be a set of different types of creativity. The pursuance of an audience can be a creative exercise in itself. How do you find those people? How do you connect with those people? And that can be fantastic. And let me tell you, the pursuit of an audience has led to a whole lot of incredible innovations in media, in delivery, in the business of music. Some brilliant, brilliant ways of connecting to audiences have emerged from that. However, it is fair to say that if you are pursuing an audience, even in a casual way, it by definition does detract from the purity of the music. You even subconsciously are starting to think about, how is an audience going to respond to this? How am I going to reach an audience? What are they going to think of this song or this move or this way of presenting myself on stage? So if that's you, if you think that music is so pure that it should never be diluted in any way by the pursuit of an audience, that's fine. You're allowed to think that. It would mean that your pursuit of music is an entirely interior or solitary pursuit. And if that's the case, the business of music probably isn't very stimulating to you. Again, I don't think there's too many people watching this first lesson that feel that way. You're here because you want to connect with an audience. And that's exactly what we're going to help you do. So, in conclusion, for this very first lesson, the point of this lesson is to start you on the path to understanding why you want to connect to the music business and thinking about the music business in a slightly different way. Certainly a different way to the idea that audience is irrelevant and hence music business is irrelevant. Clearly it is relevant to you, and that's where we've kicked off this course. Now, for some of you, that is going to turn into an incredibly exciting experience. You're going to discover tools and you're going to discover methodologies and knowledge that is going to, in itself, be unbelievably exciting to you. Your eyes are going to be opened. For others, it might say, this is a necessary burden. I'm not particularly excited by the business of music, but at least I recognize that it's important. and I recognise that there's a language that is used in the music business. It may not be life-changing for you, but it will undoubtedly be career-changing for you. So, if you are one of those artists, and I'm pretty sure you are, that you want your music to be heard, if you want to make a sustainable career from your music, you're in the right place. That's really what I wanted to get across to you in this first lesson, and we'll continue that kind of evolution of your knowledge in lesson number 2. Thanks for listening to this first one. Great to have you on board.